Yi Xian traveled to the Douluo Continent and obtained a black shop system. He opened a black shop directly in Tiandou City and sold various treasure chests in the shop. Various items can be opened inside the treasure chest, and even items that do not belong to the Douluo Continent. Ning Fengzhi opened the Qiluo tulip in the treasure chest, and his martial soul was directly upgraded to the Nine Treasures Glass Pagoda. Xueke spared no expense in using the treasury of the heavenly Dou Empire in order to open the treasure chest, and ultimately created a divine throne. Bibidong opened a divine-level scroll and instantly gained divine-level strength. As 100-level Douluo emerged one after another, no one took Yi Xian, the owner of a black shop, seriously anymore. When Tang San was carrying dual deities and surrounded by 9 red, 1 gold, and 10 powerful soul rings, clamoring to loot Yi Xian's shop, Yi Xian simply used a deity deprivation scroll to strip him of his deity. All the heavens and all the realms, all the gods are inferior to me, this small black shop. Keywords of the novel. I opened a black shop in Douluo without a pop-up window. I opened a black shop in Douluo. Download the complete TXT collection, and read the latest chapter on opening a black shop in Douluo. Chapter 1. The Black Shop in Tiandou City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The Black Shop in Tiandou City, Douluo Continent, Tiandou City. Tiandou City is the capital of the Tiandou Empire in Douluo Continent, and it is very prosperous. You are truly the name of the person. It is indeed a black shop. A so-called treasure chest costs 10 million yuan. Why don't you go grab it? I really think I am a leak. A middle-aged man dressed in luxurious clothes walked out of a shop, cursing and looking at his angry expression, as if he was going to eat people. Objectively walk slowly, welcome to visit again. Yi Xian stood weakly at the door, showing a professional smile at the middle-aged man who was cursing. How fake is that smile? When the guest couldn't see it, Yi Xian pouted and 10,000 heads of grass and mud flew over his head. Returning to the shop, Yi Xian sat on a stool with a helpless expression as he looked at the full and colorful treasure chest. Yi Xian, from Blue Star, inexplicably arrived in the world of Douluo Continent and then bound a black shop system. As long as he can sell various treasure chests, he can obtain a certain amount of transaction points, and he can use these transaction points to exchange various items in the system. Martial soul, soul bone, immortal spiritual medicine, soul power level, divine position, and so on. Anything that has appeared in Douluo Continent can be exchanged. The problem is that it has been 3 days since I arrived in Douluo Continent, and my own black shop has also been open for 3 days. A few people came in to stroll, but none of them were available for purchase. Although Tiandou City is bustling, the problem is that it does not belong to a bustling neighborhood, but rather a remote alley with few pedestrians passing by. How can it retain people? If he can't sell the treasure chest anymore, Yi Xian will have to eat dirt. Black shop. It's interesting that someone named their storefront like this. Let's go in and take a look. The speaker was dressed in splendid attire, with skin that was more snowy than snow, a high nose bridge, and a handsome face with a hint of nobility that was not angry or arrogant. Anyone who saw him would say, elegant and elegant young master. This person is the crown prince of the Dou Empire, Xueke. Coincidentally, Xueke was just a whim. When he strolled down this remote street, he accidentally saw a shop named Black Shop, which piqued his interest. Your Highness, it's better to be careful and beware of any scams. It's better to let my humble servant investigate first, said a servant quickly. Xueke smiled faintly and said softly, you loyal guards are on my side, let alone this is Tiandou City. What kind of danger can harm me? Speaking, Xueke took the lead in walking towards the black shop. Yi Xian had just sat down and was sighing heavily, feeling empty inside. He was about to eat dirt when he noticed someone coming in. He looked up weakly and casually greeted, everyone, welcome. What would you like to buy? Xueqinghe's gaze swept over Yi Xian and then turned to the shelf behind him. On that shelf, there were rows of treasure chests stored, emitting a variety of colors, including white, purple, black, red, gold, and purple gold. It gives people a very extraordinary feeling. But underneath those treasure chests of different colors, the price is marked. A white box contains 100 gold soul coins, a purple box contains 1,000 gold soul coins, a black box contains 10,000 gold soul coins, a red box contains 100,000 gold soul coins, a gold box contains 1 million gold soul coins, while a purple box requires 10 million gold soul coins. Even with Xueqinghe's identity and status, seeing the prices of those treasure chests, one would secretly sigh, so expensive, no wonder their name is called Black Shop. Sure enough, it's a black shop. I'll have someone seal it down soon. After hearing this, Xueqinghe only smiled slightly and then looked at the listless Yi Xian. He chuckled lightly and said, "Boss, why are the boxes here so expensive? You should know that on the Douluo Continent, ordinary people only use copper soul coins. The purchasing power of golden soul coins is still terrifying, and the simplest box in Yi Xian's store is 100 golden soul coins, which is an astronomical number for ordinary people. But since it's a black shop, how can it be a place for ordinary people to consume?" Yi Xian looked up carefully at Xueqinghe, and a hint of disdain flashed in his eyes. He looked really good looking, just like a little white face eating soft food. If at the beginning of the store's opening, Yi Xian would scold him, but now he has touched his stomach. 3 days ago, he was still a stubborn and arrogant young man, but now he is about to bow down for 5 meters. He immediately stood up, with a professional smile on his face, staring at Xueqinghe for a moment. The speed at which he changed his face was too fast. This young master really has a keen eye. He immediately asked the key question, which is more than twice as strong as those idiots who only know how to look at the price and don't know what they can come up with. Yi Xian said enthusiastically. Xueqinghe's mouth twitched. How could he feel the words spoken by the shopkeeper in front of him so piercing? My store only sells various treasure chests, and the things opened in each type of treasure chest are also different. The white treasure chest is only worth 100 gold soul coins, which obviously does not match the noble temperament of the young master. The purple one is too old-fashioned, and the black one conflicts with the young master. Let me focus on explaining the red box. Although the red box is worth 100,000 gold soul coins, the things opened are definitely worth it. A soul bone that lasts for 10,000 years, a divine soul ring, a soul ring that lasts between 10,000 and 90,000 years, a prop that can elevate an existing soul ring to 10,000 years, and the conditions for upgrading a title Douluo from level 99 to level 100 are all things that you can't imagine. Compared to these, what does a mere 100,000 gold soul coins count for? I dare say that no one who bought my treasure chest regrets it. They only hate themselves for having less money, and if they have enough money, they wish they could have bought my shop. How about it? Are you really tempted? Do you want to have one? Yi Xian said excitedly. The people behind Xueqing River looked at Yi Xian like fools one by one. Their crown prince was extremely intelligent, and even such a small trick could deceive him. To everyone's surprise, at the next moment, Xueqinghe said calmly, "Then let's have one." Yi Xian was overjoyed in his heart. After 3 days of opening, he finally opened today, still a red treasure chest. Yi Xian casually took down a red box from the shelf behind him and said with a smile, "At first glance, the young master is a person of great wealth and prosperity. Today, he will definitely be able to fulfill his wish in my small shop. In fact, the best thing in my small shop is..." "Let's have a black one first," Xueqinghe said lightly. The hand handed out by Yi Xian stiffened in the air, and the smile on his face stiffened, causing him to start MMP in his heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Soul Power Capsules and Millennium Soul Rings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Soul Power Capsules and Millennium Soul Rings. Adhering to the concept that customers are bullshit, Yi Xian asked clearly and took down a black treasure box designated by Xueke from that shelf. Chenghui, 10,000 gold soul coins, pay first, our store will not charge on credit. Yi Xian pressed one hand onto the black treasure chest and extended the other. Bold, do you know who this is? This is the Crown Prince of our Heavenly Dou Empire. Can the Crown Prince not have 10,000 gold soul coins? A guard shouted angrily. Xueke River. Yi Xian has seen Douluo Continent on the Blue Star. Isn't the snow-clear river of the Heavenly Dou Empire the thousand Xueke of the martial soul hall? This is a ruthless person. However, the conflict between these two empires and the martial soul city has nothing to do with me for a penny. I just need to sell my treasure chest well. It turned out to be His Highness the Crown Prince, disrespectful and disrespectful. I said that before I woke up today, the magpies were barking in the yard. It turned out that His Highness the Crown Prince was coming. His noble status naturally means he doesn't need money, Yi Xian said with a smile. Despite saying so, Yi Xian still pressed one hand on the treasure chest, without any intention of taking it away. Xueke and others are naturally extremely intelligent, and they can easily see Yi Xian's careful thinking at a glance. Give me the money, Xueke said. A golden ticket was handed over to Yi Xian. After receiving it, Yi Xian carefully examined it and couldn't distinguish its authenticity at all. Bastard, this is His Highness the Crown Prince. Is it possible for His Highness to use counterfeit currency? Your Highness, this person's repeated insults are better than yours. It's better to kill him, a guard shouted angrily. Yi Xian put away the gold ticket in his hand and said with a smile, Your Highness, don't be surprised. I have never seen such a large denomination of gold tickets before, and my curiosity naturally increased a bit. Speaking, he took his hand off the treasure chest. Xueke was not angry, but still wore a faint smile on his face, giving off a feeling of being bathed in spring breeze. Although she exudes an undeniable aura of nobility, she lacks the airs of a crown prince and is very approachable. However, her open-mindedness is admirable. Xueke walked forward, looked at the treasure chest emitting black light, paused for a moment, and then opened it directly. Without powerful soul power fluctuations or any earth-shattering sounds, Xueke River seemed to have opened a very ordinary box. Xueke took out an item at the bottom of the box, which was like a capsule, green, and looked very delicious. 10,000 gold soul coins. Xueke held the capsule in his hand and looked at Yi Xian with some confusion. Yi Xian closed the empty treasure chest directly and put it back in its original position. These treasure chests are opened, and once the contents are taken away, as long as they are placed on that shelf, new items will be refreshed inside, which can be recycled. That's a soul power capsule. As long as the soul power level is below level 80, you can directly increase the soul power level by 2 levels, Yi Xian said casually. Xueke looked at the capsule in his hand and smiled. Although he had been holding back all along, at this moment, he realized that his intelligence had been constantly being rubbed against the ground by the jerk in front of him. Do you think I can believe it? Xueqing's voice slowly cooled down. Although I am a black shop here, it is also genuine and fair. You are the crown prince and don't care about just 10,000 gold soul coins. Why don't you give this soul power capsule to your guards and see the effect immediately? You will know if what I said is false, Yi Xian said. If it weren't for his own need to open up the situation with Xueke and hoping that this guy could buy more, Yi Xian wouldn't be too lazy to say so much to him. Anyway, as long as you are in this store, you are invincible. Even if the so-called Extreme Douluo, a level 100 god-level powerhouse, comes, you cannot do anything to yourself. Xueke was not an ordinary person, but there was a hint of ferocity in his eyes when he looked at Yi Xian. As long as this guy's words were a bit untrue, he would immediately be executed. He handed the soul power capsule to a guard beside him, who took it directly. A powerful wave of soul power spread directly from the guard's body, while the other guards were pushed out of the door by this powerful wave of soul power. On the contrary, when the wave of soul power met the body of Xueke River, it was like a spring breeze brushing against the face, without any waves. My soul power is constantly improving. 40.3. My soul power level has really increased by 2 levels. The guard's face was full of dullness, his eyes were full of disbelief, and his gaze towards Yi Xian was full of shock and admiration. Seeing the soul power capsule have such an effect with her own eyes, a hint of shock flashed in Xueqing's eyes. He really couldn't understand why a small capsule could increase a person's soul power by 2 levels in a short time, but reality was right in front of him, and he couldn't help but not believe it. Your Highness, it's true. The soul power of the villain has really increased by 2 levels. It was 40.1 just now, and now it's 40.3, the person whispered. Xueqing nodded and a faint smile appeared on his face. He looked at the rows of colorful treasure chests behind Yi Xian, and then set his gaze on the red treasure chest. The 3rd row, the 5th, the red box, said Xueqing. As soon as Yi Xian took down the red treasure box, a golden ticket of 100,000 taels had already been handed to him. I am truly the crown prince, I am the one who ascended to the throne, Yi Xian said with a light smile. Xueqing opened the red treasure box directly, and a wave of soul power came from inside. That is a soul ring, purple, which looks like a soul ring obtained from killing a soul beast just now, lying quietly at the bottom of the treasure chest. Millennium soul ring. Xueqing whispered. The color of the soul ring is white in 10 years, yellow in 100 years, and purple in 1,000 years. This is clearly a millennium-old soul ring in front of me. The problem is, this soul ring was not dropped from the soul beast I killed myself, can't I absorb it? No, Xueqing quickly realized that he still needs a soul ring for 1,000 years now. This is a soul ring that anyone can absorb. After absorbing it, you can increase the lifespan of any soul ring by 2,000 years. It's still possible, isn't it? Yi Xian said with some regret. Xueqing's eyes lit up as he listened. Although he still had some doubts in his heart, he began to absorb this millennium soul ring. 2 soul rings appeared beside Xueke River, the first one being yellow, and the second one also being yellow. Xueqing closed his eyes slightly, but the second yellow soul ring turned purple at a visible speed to the naked eye. Before long, Xueqing opened his eyes. A gleam of brilliance flashed in his eyes, and he never imagined that his second soul ring had really risen to purple. He looked at Yi Xian, his gaze towards the treasure chests behind him changed, becoming enthusiastic and eager. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. 200,000 Year Soul Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 200,000 Year Soul Ring for Xueke, as long as it can bring him benefits, it is his distinguished guest. Perseverance and decisiveness are the biggest characteristics of Xueke River. Now, through personal experimentation, he naturally understands how amazing the items sold in the small shop before him are. He has never heard of anyone who has absorbed soul rings that can continue to increase their lifespan. If this were to spread, it would definitely cause a huge sensation. Shop owner, I don't know what kind of treasure can be opened from that golden treasure chest. Xueqing asked softly. Even as the crown prince of a country, Xueqing felt that the purple and gold boxes were a bit expensive. 10 million gold soul coins were not something that anyone could buy. Perhaps the Martial Soul Hall and 7 Treasures Glass sect could purchase them directly without pressure. A 100,000-year soul ring, soul bone, a special soul ring that can elevate any soul ring to 100,000 years, a powerful soul power capsule, dual martial souls, the condition for soul power to level 99 to level 100, a divine soul ring, perhaps the answer to any question, and so on. Your Highness, you must understand that if I dare to sell it so expensive, then naturally there is my reason. If not, it is really a black shop. Yi Xian said. Xueke pouted, your store is not just a black shop. However, every condition mentioned by Yi Xian has a strong attraction to Xueke River. No, that has a strong attraction for every soul master. There are several that can even drive people crazy directly. He suddenly thought of his grandfather. His grandfather's soul power has reached level 99, which is the ultimate Douluo. However, in the past few decades, his grandfather's soul power has not increased at all. I wonder if he can get a hint of soul power improvement here. Looking at Xueqing's thought-provoking face, Yi Xian leaned forward with a bright smile on his face, and there was a lot of temptation in his words. Does your Highness the Crown Prince want a golden treasure chest? Maybe you can get a second martial soul, or even the deepest question in your heart. I can provide answers here. Xueqing glanced at Yi Xian, with a hint of inexplicable meaning in his eyes. Isn't the shopkeeper aware of my inner thoughts? Xueqing said. Yi Xian laughed and said, I'm just a small businessman. How could I understand the thoughts of the Crown Prince? I don't know if the Crown Prince will buy it or not. If he doesn't buy it, please don't block the door and delay my business. Before Xueqing could even look towards the door, a familiar and hearty laughter came to his ears. Ha ha ha, your Highness the Crown Prince makes it easy for me to find him. I never expected His Highness the Crown Prince to visit such a small shop. He really understands the people's situation and enjoys it together. The person is about 40 years old, with a jade-like face, a straight nose and square mouth, elegant and easy-going, dressed in a white robe that is spotless. Even standing by the side of Xueqing River, it cannot conceal its noble temperament. Liren is one of the 7 great masters, the leader of the 7 Treasures Glass sect, Ning Fengzhi. The 7 Treasures Glass sect claims to be the wealthiest sect in the Soul Master realm, and it is entirely true to describe it as being wealthy enough to rival a country. The person beside Ning Fengzhi, with a thin figure and a sword on his back, even though he deliberately restrained his sharpness, still gave Yi Xian a feeling of sharpness. This person is very strong, very strong. Yi Xian's perception was correct. The person following Ning Fengzhi was one of the guardians of the 7 Treasures Glass sect, named Qinshin of Sword Douluo. That level 97 strong attack cultivation is known as the first person to attack. The 7 Treasures Lioli sect supported both the Heavenly Dou Empire and the Crown Prince Xueqing River, and the relationship between the two sides was naturally excellent. It turns out to be the teacher. If the teacher has anything to do, just send someone to summon them, and the students will naturally go to pay their respects, Xueqing said respectfully. Ning Fengzhi chuckled and said, Qinghe, you're really too polite. It's not important for me to find you. I have some ideas I want to share with you. Speaking, Ning Fengzhi looked at Yi Xian's small shop and was soon attracted by the treasure chests behind him. Those treasure chests emit different lights and look extremely extraordinary. Xueqing briefly introduced the situation here and then smiled, saying, Teacher, the 7 treasures of the glass sect are incredibly wealthy. Why not buy a treasure chest and see your luck, teacher? Ning Fengzhi shook his head and said with a smile, as the leader of the 7 Treasures Glass sect, I have gained a lot of knowledge, but I have never heard of these strange things. Is it really a black shop? The teacher knows about my soul ring, please take a look, my second soul ring has really changed, Xueqing said, releasing his own soul ring. As the teacher of Xueqing River, Ning Fengzhi naturally knows the soul ring of Xueqing River. But when he saw the second soul ring of Xueqing River turn purple, his face also changed slightly. Ning Fengzhi doesn't believe in this black shop, but he believes in Xueke. After all, he thinks he still knows Xueke's character very well. Is it really so effective? Ning Fengzhi said curiously. At this point, Yi Xian had also guessed Ning Fengzhi's identity, knowing that Ning Fengzhi was a fat sheep even fatter than the snow-clear river in front of him. so he naturally wanted to treat him well. "Shop owner, what kind of treasure chest do you think is useful to me?" Ning Fengzhi asked with a smile. "At least a golden treasure chest is needed to be helpful to Lord Ning." "Of course, if you want to be helpful to Senior Sword Douluo, it's best to use a purple gold treasure chest," Yi Xian said calmly. "Do you know me?" Ning Fengzhi asked curiously. "The Seven Treasures Glass sect is one of the wealthiest sects in the world, one of the top 3 sections. I wouldn't have known it. If Lord Ning doesn't believe me, you can buy a golden treasure chest first, and I won't disappoint you," said Yi Xian. "Then let's start with a golden treasure chest," Ning Fengzhi said with a smile. For Ning Fengzhi, a 10 million gold soul coin is also a considerable amount. Even with the guarantee of Xueke, he cannot throw 1,000 coins impulsively. He took down the golden treasure chest that Ning Fengzhi was interested in and handed it to Ning Fengzhi. Ning Fengzhi seemed to not pay too much attention and opened the treasure chest directly. A powerful wave of soul power came from inside the treasure chest, and a red soul ring slowly rose from inside. "Is this a 100,000-year soul ring?" Ning Feng said in silence. Not to mention Ning Fengzhi, everyone else was also shocked and looked incredulously at the red soul ring. The red soul ring represents the soul ring dropped after the death of a soul beast for 100,000 years, but the problem is that few people have a soul ring for 100,000 years. Ning Fengzhi felt his breathing was a bit rapid, and his eyes were fixed on the red soul ring in front of him, involuntarily licking his tongue. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ning Fengzhi's 10 Continuous Openings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Ning Fengzhi's 10 Continuous Openings. This soul ring is different from ordinary soul rings. After absorbing it, you can specify that the lifespan of a soul ring you have already obtained can be increased to 100,000 years. In addition, a 100,000-year soul ring is red, but you can see that the color of this soul ring is not just a little red, it is at least 200,000 years. Master Ning, your luck is really good. You can draw such a good treasure with 1 million gold soul coins and make a lot of money. However, the power of this soul ring is very great, and Master Ning may not be able to bear it. Yi Xian said. As soon as it opened today, there were 3 treasure chests, 1 gold, 1 red, and 1 black. The 111 gold soul coins had already been received, and Yi Xian had already started calculating his rewards in his heart. Ning Fengzhi naturally knew that what Yi Xian said was true, but facing a soul ring that had descended for 200,000 years, even Ning Fengzhi couldn't bear to part with it. But after all, he was the head of a sect and quickly made a decision. "Uncle Jian, I'll give you this 200,000-year-old soul ring." Douluo didn't show any courtesy, nodded, walked over directly, and in front of everyone, absorbed the soul ring directly. The dazzling red light spread from Douluo's body, transforming into a circle of red halos that gradually spread. Wherever the red light went, everything was rendered red, and everyone felt a suffocating feeling. Sword Douluo's soul rings constantly appear, with 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black. There are a total of 9 soul rings, which are also the best matching soul rings. At this moment, the last black soul ring of Sword Douluo, which vaguely revealed a hint of red, was gradually turning red in front of everyone's eyes. Although Douluo closed his eyes and stood motionless, as if he had no sensation at all. However, in reality, at this time, the Sword Douluo is experiencing great hardships. After all, this is a soul ring that has been around for nearly 200,000 years. The soul ring contains a huge amount of energy. If it weren't for Sword Douluo, who is already a Super Douluo at level 97, it would probably have been overwhelmed by that huge energy long ago. Even so, a trace of blood still overflowed from the corners of Sword Douluo's mouth. Seeing all of this, Xueke squinted his eyes and a dangerous light shot out, but his heart couldn't help but feel a murderous intent. A strong attack level 97 Super Douluo is already a significant obstacle for Xueke, let alone his last martial soul has turned into a soul ring that has been around for 200,000 years. This doesn't mean that this sword Douluo and this 7 Treasures Glass sect are even more difficult to deal with. But immediately, the killing intent in his eyes dissipated, and he regained his original feeling of being bathed in spring breeze. Even if he tries to expose his identity, he may not be able to kill Sword Douluo, which makes Xueke a little depressed. Sword Douluo quickly absorbed the soul ring, and soon he opened his eyes. A terrifying soul power spread from him and disappeared without a trace, like an ordinary old man. And Yi Xian couldn't feel the overwhelming feeling on Jian Douluo's body, as if he were an ordinary old man. Uncle Jian, your cultivation level, Ning Fengzhi also noticed something wrong and asked with an incredulous expression. Jian Douluo smiled faintly and said, "Thank you very much for the completion of the sect leader. It has been several decades since I made further progress in cultivation and finally broke through. Originally, Sword Douluo was a Super Douluo at level 97, but now it has broken through again. Isn't it that it has become a Super Douluo at level 98, just one step away from the Extreme Douluo at level 99? Spending 1 million gold soul coins to take Uncle Jian's cultivation to the next level is simply a great deal for Ning Fengzhi." Ning Fengzhi looked at Yi Xian, and just because Sword Douluo's soul power had increased by 1 level, the strength of their 7 Treasures Glass sect had also increased significantly. And that kind of powerful influence and deterrence is not even determined by money. "Give me 5 more, no, 10 more golden treasure chests," Ning Fengzhi quickly said. Yi Xian smiled faintly, he liked such a bold guest. 10 golden treasure chests were arranged in a row, and the flickering golden light made everyone's eyes turn golden. This is a 10 million gold soul coin. Even Ning Fengzhi, who is wealthy, is feeling a bit short of breath at this moment. Master Ning's consumption amount in our store has reached 10 million gold soul coins. To show our gratitude, our store will give Master Ning a small benefit for free. Master Ning will open one of these 10 golden treasure boxes that is most suitable for you. Perhaps it is soul bones, soul rings, or the answer to a question. Perhaps it is immortal herbs, soul power capsules, and so on. It is definitely the most suitable item for Master Ning, Yi Xian said with a light smile. Ning Fengzhi suddenly became interested, and he wanted to know what was most suitable for him. Nowadays, Ning Fengzhi has a soul power level of 79, but due to the limitations of his martial soul, his soul power level has not been broken through for many years. For today's Ning Fengzhi, what he most wants is probably an increase in soul power level. Under this expectation, Ning Fengzhi opened the first golden treasure chest. The golden soul coins shone into the eyes, and the entire golden treasure chest was filled with them, blinding people's eyes. "Congratulations, we have opened 100,000 gold soul coins," said Yi Xian. Ning Fengzhi's mouth twitched as he spent 1 million yuan but regained his capital of 100,000 yuan, resulting in a direct loss of 900,000 gold soul coins. The second golden treasure chest was opened again, still a box of golden soul coins. This time, Yi Xian doesn't need to remind him anymore, it's still 100,000 gold soul coins. After he opened the third golden treasure chest, it was no longer the golden soul coin, but a purple soul ring rose from inside. Not bad, not bad. After Lord Ning absorbed it, the lifespan of all soul rings increased by 300 years. However, Lord Ning's strength has also increased, Yi Xian laughed. Ning Fengzhi's lips finally showed a smile, directly absorbing the soul ring. With Sword Douluo guarding beside him, Ning Fengzhi has never been very worried about his safety. After absorbing the soul ring, Ning Fengzhi carefully sensed it, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, clearly satisfied with the level of the soul ring. A soul bone spanning 100,000 years. Soul power capsules that increase soul power by 2 levels, below level 80. 100,000 gold soul coins. 100,000 gold soul coins. A piece of paper. Soul power capsules that increase soul power by 2 levels, below level 80. After opening the last golden treasure chest, a miraculous herb appeared. The roots, stems, and leaves under the elixir are all covered with vines, finely combed. But at the top was a golden tulip, and the rich aroma of tulips instantly filled the entire room, giving people a feeling of grandeur and grandeur. It is the fairy medicine Qiluo tulip. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. True Dragon Martial Soul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 True Dragon Martial Soul. Indeed, it is this elixir. It seems that Master Ning's luck is really good. It seems that the name of the 7 Treasures Glass sect needs to be changed, Yi Xian couldn't help but say. Originally, Yi Xian thought that what was most suitable for Ning Fengzhi was to let him know the true identity of Xueke, but he didn't expect to see the blooming of Qiluo tulips. It has to be said that this Qiluo tulip is indeed the most suitable for Ning Fengzhi. Shop owner, what is the use of this elixir? Xueke couldn't help but ask. If Ning Fengzhi's strength rapidly increases, coupled with Sword Douluo's Super Douluo, Xueke may have to change his strategy against the 7 Treasures Glass sect. Yi Xian glanced at Xueke as if he hadn't heard him, picked up a cloth and started wiping the table on his own. Ning Fengzhi is also a human spirit. Although he didn't know why Yi Xian ignored Xueke, he just smiled and refrained from asking. Instead, he picked up the piece of paper. Just a glance, Ning Fengzhi's face changed drastically, and her hands couldn't help but tremble. Sword Douluo, who had been silently guarding Ning Fengzhi, immediately realized something was wrong. He flashed directly in front of Ning Fengzhi and whispered, "Master, what's wrong?" Ning Fengzhi exerted all his strength in his hand, but the piece of paper had already turned into powder and scattered on the ground from between his fingers. He didn't dare to look at Xueke River, afraid of being noticed by Xueke River. Instead, he looked at Yi Xian with a questioning expression in his eyes. "The goods are genuine and the old and the young are honest," Yi Xian whispered. Ning Fengzhi forced himself to calm down, and a faint smile appeared on his face. "Your Highness, I still have some things to do, so I'll say goodbye first. Uncle Jian, take your things and let's go." Even though he had already calmed down, Ning Fengzhi couldn't face the snow river for a while and had to leave in a hurry. Xueke looked at Ning Fengzhi's hasty departure, his eyes full of confusion. Even though Xueke was extremely intelligent, he could never guess on that note that Xueke was the biggest secret of Qianren Shui. Xueke glanced at Yi Xian. It was obvious that Yi Xian knew what was written on the note, but the problem was that Yi Xian wouldn't tell him. For big clients like Ning Fengzhi who spent over 11 million soul coins in this store, Yi Xian naturally wants to protect his privacy. Of course, if Yi Xian's expectations are not bad, Ning Fengzhi will soon come back again. Xueke looked at Yi Xian, then at the treasure chests behind him, and remembered the gold coins in the treasure chests opened by Ning Fengzhi just now. Finally, he left. "Come back tomorrow and have a 10 consecutive sessions myself." When everyone left, Yi Xian leisurely sat on his chair and began counting his gains. Otherwise, the 7 Treasures Glass sect is the wealthiest sect in the world, with a budget of 11 million. It's simply inhumane. Yi Xian loves to be friends with people like this. Opening the system, Yi Xian's information immediately appeared in front of me. Black shop owner. Yi Xian, martial soul. None, soul power level. None, transaction points. 1111 The ratio of transaction points to gold soul coins is 1 to 10,000. Ning Fengzhi spent 11 million yuan, which translates to 1100 points. Xueke spent 11,000 yuan, which translates to 11 o'clock. Now that he has transaction points, Yi Xian naturally opens the black shop behind his system, purchases martial souls, and upgrades his soul power level. The items in the black shop in the system backend are also diverse, including both original items from Douluo Continent and items that do not belong to Douluo Continent. Like some famous martial souls on the Douluo Continent, all of them are available for sale here. Martial Soul Haotian Hammer. 500 trading points. Wuhuan 7 Treasures Glass Pagoda. 400 trading points. Martial Soul 9 Treasures Glass Pagoda. 600 trading points. Martial Soul 6 Winged Angel. 600 trading points. Martial Soul Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex 500 trading points. There are martial souls such as Blue Silver Grass, Blue Silver Emperor, 6 Winged Angel, Panlong Stick, Evil Fire Phoenix, White Tiger, etc., with a value of mostly 400 to 500 trading points. In addition, there is also the entire Xiantian treasure record brought by Tang San from Blue Star. And things like 100,000-year soul bones, soul rings of various levels, experience capsules, immortal herbs, divine positions, and so on are all clearly priced, ensuring that children and elderly are not deceived. Besides, there are some martial souls that do not belong to the Douluo Continent. Martial Soul World Tree. 1,000 trading points. Martial Soul True Dragon. 1,000 trading points. Martial Soul Phoenix. 1,000 trading points. Wuhuan Jinwu. 900 trading points. Martial Soul Life Ancient Tree. 900 trading points. Martial Soul Sun True Fire. 800 trading points. Unfortunately, Yi Xian has a lot of interests, but his trading points are very few. After carefully analyzing these martial souls, Yi Xian turned his gaze to the final martial soul. There are several types of martial souls priced at 1,000 points, none of which are top-notch, such as the True Dragon Martial Soul and the Phoenix Emperor Martial Soul, which are equally powerful. True Dragon and Phoenix, who is weak and who is strong? Kunpeng Qilin, who is the king? Yi Xian looked around and directly purchased the True Dragon Martial Soul. When there is a trading point in the future, it will be perfect to create a double martial soul and also include the Phoenix under your command. Ding, successfully purchased the Martial Soul Dragon and is currently merging. As soon as the sound of the system sounded, Yi Xian felt a burst of pain coming from all over his body. The feeling of being torn apart was really bad, and that feeling was simply beyond human endurance. More importantly, this pain that almost exceeded human limits not only did not make the pain pass, but also made Yi Xian's perception clearer. The feeling of intense and doubled pain can really drive people crazy. In a daze, Yi Xian only felt a roaring and dancing Real Dragon approaching the horizon, but the powerful pressure made Yi Xian unable to move. The giant dragon actually plunged directly into Yi Xian's body, and he even heard the roar of the dragon. A wave of soul power spread from Yi Xian's body, and he only felt that his whole body was filled with a magical energy, feeling that his body was full of power. He opened the system and looked at his own attributes. Black Shop Owner. Yi Xian Martial Soul. True Dragon Soul Power Level. 10-inch Soul Ring. None Soul Skill. None Transaction Points. 111-inch having innate soul power means that one can now have their first soul ring. The century-old yellow soul ring is not something that Yi Xian naturally admires, even the millennium-old purple soul ring is not something he admires. We can only wait for a moment, and when our body strength is strong enough, we can directly absorb the black eternal soul ring. How about we get a double martial soul first? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Soul Power Golden Pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Soul Power Golden Pill. Unfortunately, the 111 transaction points were not enough to purchase a soul ring that satisfied Yi Xian, so we had to wait for a moment. As for food and clothing, Yi Xian directly exchanged 100 gold soul coins at a trading point. This black shop system is very deceitful. Yi Xian finally begged his grandfather to tell his grandmother to buy those various treasure chests, and the system would convert the gold soul coins into gold soul coins at a rate of 10,000 to 1. However, when he wanted to use money, he needed to exchange them for gold soul coins at a rate of 100 to 1. All of Yi Xian's expenses need to be systematically converted, otherwise something terrible will happen. The purchasing power of the golden soul coin is still very terrifying. Yi Xian went directly to the restaurant to have a full meal and had a tooth ritual. By the time Yi Xian walked slowly into the shop, the moon had already come out. When the cold wind blew, Yi Xian only felt a stir, but the wine woke him up halfway. Looking at the moon in the sky, a feeling of homesickness. Forget it, it's useless to think about it. What are you thinking about him for? It's just a pity that I have the study materials on my computer and the dozen or so free websites. As soon as he thought of the artists who selflessly devoted themselves to art, a surge of admiration surged in Yi Xian's heart. Shop owner, my lord, please. Just as Yi Xian was reminiscing about the wonderful moments of the past, a figure suddenly appeared, blocking his way. At first glance, Yi Xianding saw whether the person coming was Jian Douluo or that one. Just as he was about to say something, he felt his body lighten and rise into the air. A whistling sound could be heard in his ear, but his body moved rapidly. Before long, he was placed on the ground by Sword Douluo. Young brother, I have offended you so much. Please forgive me. I have prepared some thin wine to apologize to you. Ning Fengzhi walked out of the hall with a smile. Wine and vegetables. Yi Xian pouted, you said it earlier. If you had said it earlier, you wouldn't have spent money. This is a very ancient and rustic estate, surrounded by some precious trees and flowers, emitting a faint fragrance that smells very pleasant. Not far away is a hall, and a good banquet has been set up on the table. There is no one else in the hall except for Ning Fengzhi. Even the Sword Douluo who came here, including himself, has disappeared. Yi Xian could naturally guess Ning Fengzhi's intentions, but he wanted to see Ning Fengzhi and at least tell him how to use the Qiluo tulip. Coincidentally, I really have something to explain to you, Yi Xian said. Ning Fengzhi welcomed Yi Xian into the hall and the two sat down separately. Yi Xian had already eaten his meal, and even when he saw the delicious dishes on the table, he didn't have much appetite. He just drank some fruit wine. Ning Fengzhi is truly the leader of the Seven Treasures Glass sect, and he praises Yi Xian very well. After a while, Ning Fengzhi smiled and said, Shop owner, the note I opened in your small shop today, I don't know what else the shop owner knows. Is what was said on it true or false? Yi Xian yawned and said vaguely, that's true. Didn't you feel it yourself? One more thing to tell you, your Wulin is the Seven Treasures colored glass tower, which is very special. It's a kind of auxiliary Wulin. The flower you opened today is called Qiluo tulip, which is of great use to you. This flower can't be swallowed. You need to suck its stamens gently, take the essence into your body slowly, and then cultivate its soul power slowly, so that the effect can be spread all over the body. You only need that flower to take your Wulin. The Soul's Seven Treasures colored glass tower has been upgraded to the Nine Treasures colored glass tower. There are only other things that I can't say. If Lord Ning wants to know something, go there and open the treasure chest. There is definitely an answer you want to know. Thank you for your hospitality. I'm leaving. Without waiting for Ning Fengzhi's persuasion, he left directly. The next day, early in the morning, shortly after Yi Xian opened the store door, the two of them entered the store. The newcomers are Xueke and a mischievous little girl. Shop owner, I'm bothering you again, Xueke said politely as soon as he entered the door. Crown Prince, why are you so friendly to this guy? We are royal family, so it would be great if we didn't let this guy kneel and pay his respects. A strange little elf girl following beside Xueke River said with a dissatisfied expression. The little girl in front of me looks very spiritual, and she must also be a great beauty in the future. From her address of Xueke River, Yi Xian guessed that the person in front of him should be Princess Xueke. The Snow Knight Emperor had a total of 5 children. The snow-clear river was occupied by the 1,000 Xueqiu, and the second and third princes were all poisoned by the snow-clear river. The fourth prince, Xuebang, pretended to be cynical and arrogant in order to survive. Only Princess Xueke in front of her, as a woman, poses no threat to Xueqing River and is actually the safest. Xueke, you must not be impolite. This is the owner of a black shop and a person with great abilities. You must not lose your courtesy. Xueqing sternly scolded. Xueke, however, pouted disapprovingly. If it weren't for her desire to stay with the crown prince, she wouldn't have come to this haunted place. The name given is called Black Shop, which doesn't seem like a good place at first glance. Hey, what are you selling here? I can tell you. If you dare. Before Xueke could finish speaking, she was interrupted directly by Xueqing. Xueqing looked at Xueke with a disgruntled expression, but Xueke only pursed her lips and then looked fiercely at Yi Xian. It was obvious that Xueke had recorded this account on Yi Xian's head. My sister.in.law is rude. Please don't take it amiss, shopkeeper. This time I came, I even took out my old savings, totaling 10 million gold soul coins. I want 10 gold treasure chests, Xueqing said with a smile. Old Ben. If Xueqing were just a crown prince, perhaps he wouldn't be able to obtain this 10 million gold soul coins. However, this guy is not only the crown prince of the heavenly Dou Empire, but also the young master of the martial soul hall. It's probably not difficult for him to obtain 100 million gold soul coins. Yi Xian took the thick stack of gold tickets into his bag, and under the guidance of Xueqing, he took down 10 golden treasure chests and arranged them in a row. And next to her, the Xueke girl was already dumbfounded. Although she is still very young, she has some concept of the 10 million golden soul coin and knows that it is a lot of money. Before Xueke could ask for money, Xueqing opened the first golden treasure chest directly. A golden pill-like object appeared at the bottom of the treasure chest. Xueqing picked up the golden pill from the bottom of the treasure chest, looked left and right, and then looked at Yi Xian with a puzzled expression. Yi Xian didn't expect this girl's luck to be so good. Perhaps this is because she has luck in her body. This is a special soul power pill, which is countless times more effective than soul power capsules. No matter who eats it, it can increase soul power by 1 level. End of this chapter. Chapter 7, Second Martial Soul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, Second Martial Soul. This is still some kind of bullshit capsule. It's just to enhance 1 level of soul power, which requires 1 million gold soul coins. Why don't you go grab it? Crown Prince, this person must be a fraud. Let's catch him and send him to the prison, Xueke said angrily. Xueqing had no time to deal with Xueke, who was playing around. He looked at Yi Xian, his hands trembling slightly. Any level. What about level 99? After taking level 99, can one become a level 100 and a god-level powerhouse? Xueqing said excitedly. Yi Xian naturally knew what he was talking about, and it must be his grandfather, the great worshipper of the martial soul hall, the guide of the angel god, who had reached the limit of level 99 Douluo, 1,000 streams of flow. As the guide of the angel god, it was impossible for Qiluo to reach level 100, and it was impossible for him to reach the divine level. However, he was unexpectedly drawn by Xuan to the special soul power golden pill in front of him. This soul power golden pill can definitely make Tiandou Lu achieve his wish. Any level, anyone. As long as their soul power level does not reach level 100, it is useful. Xueqing, your qi is stronger than Ning Fengzhi, so it is much better than the extracted things than Ning Fengzhi. Yi Xian said. A faint smile appeared at the corner of Xueqing's mouth. How effective is this soul power golden pill? It still needs to be handed over to Grandpa for him to try taking it. If Grandpa's soul power level reaches level 100 and he becomes a god-level expert, what are these 2 empires worth? After collecting the soul power golden pill, Xueke opened the second golden treasure chest. A full chest of golden soul coins, totaling 100,000 pieces. Xueke, this is 100,000 gold soul coins. I'll give it to you. You can also open a few boxes and have a look, it's very fun, Xueke said with a smile. What kind of scammer, what kind of prison, these were all forgotten by Xueke, and in his eyes, the only thing he could see was the full treasure box of golden soul coins. Thank you very much, Brother Crown Prince. Brother Crown Prince is the best. After finishing speaking, Xueke hugged the golden treasure chest with a look of ecstasy, her eyes filled with ecstasy. Xueke then opened the second treasure chest. A phantom black bear slowly appeared from the treasure chest, then grew bigger and even turned into a huge black bear about 4 or 5 meters high. It squatted on the ground, looking at the sky with an unyielding expression in its eyes. Immediately, it opened its mouth and let out a roar. Although no sound came, the three of them could still feel its indomitable will. Fortunately, this black bear is a phantom, otherwise the entire store will have to be demolished. Then, the black bear gradually disappeared and returned to the treasure chest, becoming a mini bear. What is this? Xueke said with a frightened expression on her face. The scene just now did startle her a lot. If it weren't for the presence of the Crown Prince, she would have been scared to tears long ago. Xueke looked at the mini bear with a hint of contemplation in his eyes. Is this a martial soul? Xueke said with some uncertainty. Yi Xian laughed and said, not bad, this is indeed a martial soul. If someone without a martial soul absorbs it, they can obtain a martial soul of the earth bear. If someone who already has a martial soul absorbs it, they will awaken a second martial soul, the earth bear. This earth bear is already considered a good martial soul, so His Highness the Crown Prince might as well consider it. The second martial soul. Xueke looked at the martial soul of the earth bear with a little eagerness, and soon the eagerness in his eyes slowly faded away. His martial soul is a 6-winged angel, even if he wants to have a second martial soul, this second martial soul cannot be too bad. Although this earth bear is considered good, it is very incompatible with the 6-winged angel. Xueke is a very proud person. If there is no suitable martial soul, he would rather not want it than tarnish the 6-winged angel martial soul. However, the martial soul of this earth bear can, Prince, do you want this martial soul? If you don't want it, can you give it to me? What a lovely little bear, let it follow me. Xueke said with an expectant expression. Xueke just smiled faintly and nodded in agreement. Xueke was just about to absorb the martial souls of the earth bear, but Yi Xian warned, 2 martial souls may not be good for ordinary people. Although the princess has good talent, her body still cannot carry 2 martial souls. If she absorbs 2 martial souls recklessly, she will also have concerns about her life. You're not here anymore, I'm a princess. How could I not have 2 martial souls? You black-hearted guy must be exaggerating and not a good thing at first glance, Xueke said angrily. Xueke reached out his hand and didn't know where he had received the martial soul of the earth bear. Little sister, be obedient. When you grow up in the future, the Crown Prince will definitely make you the best martial soul as your double martial soul, Xueke said with a smile. Xueke looked angrily at Yi Xian and then charged this account to this annoying guy. When there was time, she would definitely make this jerk look good. He dared to keep ruining his good deeds. Brother Crown Prince, the things in the next treasure chest you opened should be given to me as compensation, Xueke said with a look of grievance. Xueke just smiled lightly and opened the next box. All the coins were filled with golden soul coins, one by one of 100,000, but Xueke smiled and said, okay, these are all yours now. Xueke didn't expect to receive 200,000 gold soul coins today when she followed the Crown Prince's brother. Xueke, who usually only had a few coins, had a feeling of being a nouveau riche. Shop owner, Ning Fengzhi opened 10 golden treasure chests and got what he needed the most. I don't know if opening these remaining 10 treasure chests will bring up what I really want, said Xueke. Yes, Yi Xian said with a smile. Having obtained the answer she wanted, a faint smile appeared at the corner of Xueqinghe's mouth. He wants to see what he really wants. Then open the golden treasure chest. It has to be said that the luck of this Xueqing river is really not built, and the things it opens up are much better than those of Ning Fengzhi. God bestows soul rings. 30-100-year soul rings, all soul rings increase by 30-100 years, soul guiding device, mother and son conch 100,000 golden soul coins 100000 golden soul coins an answer. The soul guide letter conch is a set of 1 mother and 3 children soul guides that can ignore distance and communicate with the 3 children through this mother conch. However, when Xueqinghe picked up the piece of paper and looked at the answer on it, his face instantly darkened, and his eyes towards Yi Xian were filled with an undisguised killing intent. Yi Xian, however, paid no attention. Your Highness the Crown Prince should have made early plans, Yi Xian said coldly. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Xueke's Dog. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Xueke's Dog. In a daze, Xueqinghe felt that the black shop owner in front of him was like a deity, as if he was about to see through his entire being. Especially the profound sentence made Xueqinghe's face look very ugly. When he thought of himself lurking in the imperial family of the heavenly Dou Empire, if his identity was leaked, there would be only one dead end, and he had a deep killing intent. He would never let others disrupt his plans. But he quickly thought of the last change in Ning Fengzhi's expression, didn't he? Between the thoughts and thoughts, Xueqinghe associated himself with many things. The shopkeeper seems to be able to see through people's hearts, Xueqinghe said with a light smile. Yi Xian gave a faint smile and said nonchalantly, I'm just a business person, not a fortune teller. I just focus on making money. What do I do with other things? Although Xueqinghe could hear the meaning behind Yi Xian's words, he didn't believe it at all. Even if what Yi Xian said was true, he wouldn't give up on it. For Xueqing River, only death can keep secrets. At this moment, Xueke had already made up his mind to exterminate Yi Xian. Prince, these 2 boxes of golden soul coins, Xueke looked at Xueqinghe with a longing expression on her face. But I didn't expect that Princess Xueke was still a small financial fanatic when she was young. With a big wave of his hand, Xueqinghe said confidently, it's all for you. Xueke shouted excitedly, with a bright smile on her face. Hey, give me 4 red treasure chests. I want to open up my soul bones, Xueke said eagerly. Watching Xueqinghe drive out many good things one after another, Xueke was also very envious, and naturally she wanted to drive out good things herself. Yi Xian glanced at Xueke and saw that Xueqinghe had not been above her head and had always maintained her rationality. On the contrary, how could this little girl look a bit above her? Put all 10 golden treasure chests back, and under the guidance of Xueke, Yi Xian took down 4 red treasure chests. The red treasure chest is just 100,000 gold soul coins, and nothing good can be opened. Why don't you go and beg your father, who loves you the most and will definitely give you some gold soul coins? Buy a few gold treasure chests then, said Xueqinghe. Xueke pursed her lips and said, Your Highness, it's easy. How could father give me millions of gold soul coins? It's already not easy to have 400,000 gold soul coins. Look, I can definitely open up soul bones, and selling them will definitely be worth a lot of gold soul coins. Speaking, Xueke directly opened the first red treasure chest. A powerful wave of soul power came from the red treasure chest, and a bone slowly rose from it. Soul bone. Soul bone. Xueke looked at the bone and began to stutter while speaking, her whole body completely stunned. Xueqinghe was also full of disbelief on his face. He never expected that soul bones could be opened up in this red treasure box. This is the soul bone of a flaming rosefinch that has been burning for thousands of years, which is very suitable for the Royal Highness Princess, said Yi Xian. Even though she had already grasped the soul bone in her hand, Xueke still had a very dreamy feeling. Prince, have I created a soul bone that has been around for thousands of years? Xueke's face was filled with disbelief. 100,000 gold soul coins were used to create a 10,000-year soul bone, and Xueke had already earned blood. Of course, as Xueke, there wouldn't be any soul master who would openly seize this soul ring, but one still needs to be wary of some people secretly stealing it. You don't have the corresponding soul guide on you, I'll keep this soul bone for you first. Whenever you need it, go find me, said Xueke. Xueke nodded, still believing in her crown prince brother. Prince, do you think I will create another soul bone? If there are 2 soul bones, we will each have one, said Xueke with a smile. My luck has always been good, I'm sure I can create another soul bone, Xueke said with a smile. Xueke was greatly encouraged and directly opened the second red treasure chest. Still, a wave of soul power came from inside the box, and a soul ring slowly rose from inside. Is this a soul ring? Xueke said with some uncertainty. This is a Millennium soul ring. If not absorbed, it will slowly dissipate, said Yi Xian. Garbage. Xueke's face was speechless, she didn't expect to drive out such garbage. Not to mention a 1,000-year soul ring, even a 1,000-year soul ring is not a rare thing for a princess of a country. We can only wait slowly for this soul ring to dissipate. The third red treasure chest was opened, and a little dog's cry came from inside. A dog. Xueke looked at the little dog curled up in the red treasure box, dumbfounded. That dog's whole body is snow-white and it looks a bit cute, but the problem is, it's just a dog. Xueke took the little dog out of the red treasure box and carefully examined it. It was either a soul beast or an ordinary dog. The little dog was struggling in the hands of Xueke River, with its mouth open constantly making threatening sounds, looking fierce. A little dog like this can easily obtain over 100,000 at his command. Shop owner, is this an ordinary little dog? Xueke asked. Yi Xian just smiled faintly and said to Xueke, this is a very edible little dog. A very edible little dog. What kind of variety is this? Xueke had an impulse to throw him to death. Crown Prince, please don't kill it. This little dog is so cute that people like it, said Xueke. Xueke took the little dog back from Xueqing's hand, which was strange to say. The little dog no longer looked like it had just been in Xueke's arms. It closed its eyes peacefully and was embraced by Xueke. Such a cute little dog, it's so cute. It's snow-white all over. Let's call it Xiaoxue in the future, said Xueke. The little dog seemed to have smelled something delicious, slowly opening its sleepy little eyes and looking towards the Millennium soul ring that was gradually dissipating. It opened its small mouth and just sucked in the Millennium soul ring that had not completely dissipated before it was sucked into its mouth. This scene directly stunned Xueke and Xueqing, as they had never heard of anything that could eat soul rings. Wow, Xiaoxue, you're so amazing that you can even eat soul rings. Hey, scammer, you must know what kind of puppy this is. Tell me quickly, otherwise, you'll look good, Xueke said with a smile. Yi Xian pursed his lips. If someone asked, he naturally wouldn't answer, but this was Xueke's inquiry. He glanced at Xueqing River and finally said, this is a very special soul beast that specializes in eating soul rings. Soul rings can last for 10 years, 100 years, or 1,000 years. When you grow up, you will definitely become a powerful soul beast. Oh, by the way, killing him doesn't have a soul ring. Xueke looked at Yi Xian with a displeased expression and said with a hint of disgust, what are you talking about? Snow is so cute, how could they be willing to kill him? You're just dead. Yi Xian pursed his lips. The little girl naturally didn't want to kill this little dog, so your crown prince brother may not be there. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Ning Fengzhi's Nine Treasures Glass Pagoda Martial Soul. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 9 Ning Fengzhi's Nine Treasures Glass Pagoda. Martial Soul. After teasing for a while, Xueke finally opened the fourth red treasure chest. A blood-red ginseng appeared in the treasure chest. Millennium blood ginseng, a precious medicinal herb. Xueke was overjoyed, and surprisingly, everything appeared in the four red treasure chests she opened, which seemed to be even greater than the reward Xueke received. However, a soul power golden pill from the snow-clear river is enough to counteract everything. It is a truly priceless treasure. Both siblings contributed their money and soon left Yi Xian's small shop. Yi Xian escorted his god of wealth to the door with a smile on his face. He looked at the gradually disappearing figures of the siblings, and Yi Xian frowned slightly. Can this Xueke be someone with great luck? According to the original work, although the avalanche finally ascended to the throne of the emperor, his aptitude was not very good. The biggest reason he was able to worship the protagonist's door was because he gave Tang San many good things, such as the vast sea Qianquan mask. There is still a trace of the remnants of the sea god in the vast expanse of the universe, which is an important item inherited by the sea god. Even Tang San cannot refuse the avalanche apprenticeship for this grand gift. But from just now on, it seems that Xueke has a considerable amount of luck on her body. If Xueke could sit on the throne, I don't know what kind of scenery it would be like. Can it be a version of Wuzetian from another world? Now there are trading points again. It's time to tinker with your soul rings. Yi Xian's small shop is located in a remote area, and the things sold inside are very expensive. Even if someone comes in to stroll, they will be intimidated by the high price. When Yi Xian is tinkering with his soul ring, no one comes to disturb him. Moreover, just as Yi Xian couldn't decide what kind of soul beast's soul ring he wanted for his first soul ring, Ning Fengzhi had already walked out of the closed room. Douluo and Douluo, who were waiting outside, saw Ning Fengzhi come out and quickly welcomed him. "How do you feel, master?" Douluo quickly asked. Ning Fengzhi laughed heartily, but did not answer. He directly revealed his martial soul. Layers of pagodas appeared in front of the ancestors. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 7 layers, 8 layers, 9 layers. Master, your martial soul has been upgraded to become the Nine Treasures Glass Pagoda. Douluo looked incredulous. Ning Fengzhi laughed heartily. His long-standing wish had actually been fulfilled when he was already desperate. From now on, his sect should change its name from the 7 Treasure Glass sect to the 9 Treasure Glass sect. I just don't know which one is stronger, the 9 Treasures Glass Pagoda or the Haotian Hammer. I don't know if our 9 Treasures Glass sect has the strength to compete for the first sect, Ning Fengzhi said excitedly. The 7 Treasures Liuli sect has always been suppressed by the Haotian sect, and has been the second son for countless years. Now, finally, they are going to compete for the first place. The 7 Treasures Glass Pagoda can only withstand 7 soul rings, which means that every soul master who possesses the 7 Treasures Glass Pagoda's martial soul can only cultivate to level 79 as a soul saint. Now, Ning Fengzhi can finally cultivate to the level of title Douluo. Congratulations, the auxiliary ability of the 7 Treasures Glass Pagoda of the sect leader is already the best in the world, and now it has become the 9 Treasures Glass Pagoda. The auxiliary ability is probably unprecedented. Douluo smiled and said. At present, the most important thing for the sect leader is to need a soul ring to improve cultivation, said Douluo. Reaching out, 2 soul power capsules appeared in Ning Fengzhi's hand, which were the 2 soul power capsules opened from the golden treasure chest. Unfortunately, these 2 soul power capsules are no longer useful to me. According to the shopkeeper, these soul power capsules are only useful for soul masters below level 80, Ning Fengzhi said with a hint of regret. It's best to find a soul master at level 76. After taking it, wouldn't it just reach level 80, said Douluo. At this point, they naturally completely believed what Yi Xian said. Soon, a hint of sadness flashed on Ning Fengzhi's face. Master, what's wrong? Gu Douluo asked. Looking at Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo, they are naturally people who can be completely trusted, and they are the guardians of the 7 treasures and glass sect. But this matter is of great importance, and he himself didn't even think of how to deal with it for a moment. But soon, he still explained the matter briefly. What, Xueke is the young master of the Martial Soul Hall, Xuan. How could this be? This is definitely a mistake, it's simply impossible. Gu Douluo looked incredulous. You should know that the 7 Treasures Glass sect supports the Heavenly Do Empire between the Martial Soul Hall and the Heavenly Do Empire, and within the Heavenly Do Empire, they support the Crown Prince Xueke River. If Xueke were the young master of the Martial Soul Hall, it would be a heavy blow to the entire 7 Treasures Glass sect, perhaps enough to destroy their sect. Master, did the black shop owner tell you this news? Jian Douluo asked. Ning Fengzhi shook his head and said, You forgot the note I opened, and that was the news written on it. Now, thinking about it, the most important thing for me may not be my martial soul upgrade, but this news. If that Xueke River is really the young master of the Martial Soul Hall, then it is really the downfall of our 7 Treasures Glass sect. The martial soul of 200,000 years is true, and the upgrade of the sect leader's martial soul to the 9 Treasures Glass Pagoda is also true. I think those 2 soul power capsules should also be true. There is no reason why this news is false, said Sword Douluo. Gu Douluo opened his mouth, but he didn't know how to refute it. After all, the news was too big. Looking back now, the deaths of the 2nd and 3rd princes have not been traced back to the culprit. The 4th prince is also stubborn, but the youngest is still a princess. With the deaths of these 2 princes, Xueke can gain the greatest benefits, and his position as crown prince is no longer threatened. If Xueke is the culprit, then everything can be said clearly. Ning Fengzhi said. Jian Douluo nodded and said, that Xueke River is gentle, humble, and polite. It's very comfortable to get along with him, but I didn't expect such a scheme. It's really scary. If this thing were to spread, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. It shouldn't be, those people in the royal family are not fools, and the martial soul of Xueke won't deceive anyone. How can he avoid those people in the royal family? Also, why does the name Qianren sound like a woman's name? Can Xueke be a woman? Gu Douluo said with some confusion. Various doubts lingered in her heart, and Ning Fengzhi couldn't figure out the most crucial part. Anyway, the most important thing now is to confirm the identity of Xueke. We must not let the people in the Martial Soul Hall become the crown prince of the Heavenly Do Empire. In that case, not only the 7 Treasures Glass sect, but even the Heavenly Do Empire and the Star Falling Empire will be annexed by the Martial Soul Hall. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Clouds and Rain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Clouds and Rain. A purple soul ring appeared beside Yi Xian, enveloping his body and appearing somewhat sacred. Waves of powerful soul power continued to ravage Yi Xian's body, and he felt his physical strength constantly increasing. Surprisingly, he had the idea of being able to blow open the world with a punch. The feeling of being full of strength all over his body made him very intoxicated, and he wished he had been immersed in this feeling all along. Yi Xian spent 1,000 trading points to purchase a divine soul ring. After taking it, he obtained a purple soul ring in his first soul skill, Xingyan Buyu. For a long time, that feeling slowly dissipated, and he opened his attribute interface. Sure enough, his attributes had been updated. Black Shop Owner. Yi Xian, Martial Soul. True Dragon, Soul Power Level. 11-inch Soul Ring. Purple, Soul Skill. Cloud and Rain Spreading, Transaction Points. 150-inch Yi Xian looked at his first soul skill with a slight sense of helplessness. He originally only wanted to obtain a very powerful soul skill, but he never expected to obtain a seemingly powerful soul skill. Simply put, this is a soul skill that gathers water vapor from the air for rainfall. The amount of rainfall, duration, area, and level of soul power are all factors that limit this soul skill. Yi Xian arrived at the backyard and directly used the soul technique of Yunbuyu. A cool breeze blew by, and a dark cloud seemed to gather in the air, followed by a sparse drizzle falling from the sky. After falling to the ground, he disappeared without a trace, while Yi Xian only felt his soul power rapidly dissipating. After only a few seconds, he couldn't hold on anymore. Yi Xian gasped for breath as he looked at the big sun in the sky, and it took him a while to come back to his senses. It seems that my first soul skill has passed like this. With a pout, I now have soul skills. Just returned to the small shop in front. To my surprise, another customer came to the shop. "Hello guest, would you like a treasure chest with anything you want inside?" Yi Xian said with a light smile. Although that person was dressed in common people's clothes, his face was cold, and even standing in that small shop gave a very cold feeling. It's a bit like a malicious person. Of course, this has nothing to do with Yi Xian, he only cares about whether his business can be successful. "Are you the boss here? Are you the only one here?" the person asked coldly. Yi Xian nodded and smiled lightly, saying, "There is indeed only one person in this small shop. I don't know what kind of treasure chest the customer wants. Do you want a purple gold treasure chest? It only requires 10 million gold soul coins, not much." The person nodded and walked up to Yi Xian. The two are only separated by a table, almost within reach. "Then give me a red treasure chest," the person said. Yi Xian nodded and turned to get the red treasure chest. At this moment, the person suddenly took action. The sword in his hand flashed a lightning bolt, directly hitting Yi Xian's neck. The sword is unsheathed, collected, and completed in one go. A hint of crimson appeared on Yi Xian's neck, and as soon as Yi Xian touched the red treasure chest, his hand also paused. The assassin sneered, "As long as he takes action, there is no one who cannot be killed. In the next life, don't meddle in your own affairs. Your Highness the Crown Prince's affairs are also within your control, and seek death." After the assassin finished speaking, he casually turned around and left. However, before he could leave the black shop, the voice of Yi Xian came from behind him. "My guest, the red treasure chest has been taken down. Whether you want it or not, you have to pay." The assassin's body stiffened and his face was filled with an incredulous expression. He slowly turned around, but saw Yi Xian looking at him with a smile on his face as if nothing had happened. There was a red treasure box on the table in front of Yi Xian. "My guest, my place is not like any other place. As long as you want it, you have to buy it. Of course, you don't want the treasure chest, but you must give the golden soul coin. If you want to evade the bill, you will be punished severely," Yi Xian said with a smile. As he spoke, Yi Xian walked up to the assassin's side. The killer's gaze was fixed on Yi Xian's neck, trying to determine if there were any wounds on his neck. Quickly, he was disappointed. Yi Xian's neck was as smooth as a mirror, without any wounds. The things just now seemed like a dream. "Are you a human or a ghost?" said the assassin in a trembling voice. Yi Xian extended his hand and said impatiently, "Why bother talking so much? Take the money. If you don't take the money, then you're sorry." "Can I go home and get it for you?" said the killer. He is here to kill, not to buy things, so naturally it is impossible for him to really have 100,000 gold soul coins on his body. But the shop owner in front of him is really strange. He has already killed him, but why does this guy seem to be doing nothing? He has never encountered such a situation before and has never heard of it. Naturally, he wants to go back and report it as soon as possible. No money. That would be too easy. "Let's keep our lives," Yi Xian said with a smile. As soon as Yi Xian finished speaking, the assassin's face changed drastically, his body shook, and he leaped towards the door. Just as his feet had just lifted off the ground, his entire body was controlled by a mysterious force, unable to move at all. Yi Xian looked up and down at the assassin, as if inspecting a cargo, and his mouth kept making tisk tsk sounds. My black shop is not an ordinary place. Those who dare to act wild here have not yet been born. You can rest assured to leave. Your wife and children will be taken care of by others, Yi Xian said. The assassin looked at Yi Xian with a face full of fear, wanting to beg for mercy but couldn't even say a word. His eyes were filled with endless pleading. Unfortunately, it was of no use and did not even arouse any sympathy from Yi Xian. Flames suddenly rose from within the assassin's body, and in the midst of the assassin's frightened gaze, he was infuriated by the flames. In the blink of an eye, it was like a fiery person. Strangely, there was no smoke, no temperature, only the flames kept burning. Quickly, the assassin disappeared completely, leaving only a small amount of ash continuously falling from the air. After cleaning the ground, Yi Xian put the red treasure box back in its original position. Immediately, as if nothing had happened, he sat on his own stool waiting for the next guest to come to his door. A storefront like Yi Xian is destined to only serve a portion of people, which also indicates that most of the time will be deserted. Just as Yi Xian was about to fall asleep sitting on that stool, another guest entered the door. End of this chapter.